man, the tribe has been everything to me because there's been dark moments, hasn't there?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, who's got your back? So you got to commit, you got to have a contribution, a sense of purpose, and you got to have a tribe.
Fam, what's up? Welcome back to CEO Pulse Podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Another episode of the Mindset Monday series with my co-host, Justin Thorstad.
Thank you.
That was pretty good.
It was nice.
I was expecting some moves there, like something.
I don't have any.
No, I mean, I kind of felt you. I lost you like halfway through that intro, but I had to stay the course.
Oh, well.
Ooh, I had to stay, which takes me to today's topic. Staying the course in your entrepreneurship career or through your entrepreneurship experience, right? A lot of times we want to throw in the towel because we don't see results on day 3. Yet we have the feeling that something, could stick if we just give it enough time, right? So staying the course, I think sometimes, and this especially, I think it calls me right now, even more than usual, because there's a lot of stuff happening in the marketplace, like especially in the vertical that we're in, right? And so you have deals taking longer to sell. You have renegotiations with sellers. I mean, the whole disposition process gets a little bit more challenging. So we have to get crafty and more creative with stuff that we hadn't necessarily done in the past, right? And the first thing is like, would it be better if I wasn't doing this, if I switched, and what if I were to move to another vertical, to something easier, right? And then jump from one to the next. But the reality is that I think every vertical that we tap into is going to have challenges. It's going to have setbacks. It's going to have things that are going to put us down, right? And our ability to stay the course and build that resilience is really what I mean. That's the key to doing anything in the space that we're in. So
yeah. So people are always looking for the easiest way, right, or the easiest path. And it's like, if you stay the course and you get your bumps and bruises, you learn the lessons from all those experiences. That's what makes entrepreneurship easier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that knowledge through experience makes life easier, makes business easier because you're more resourced. You probably get a larger network. Like, so there is no, the grass is greener on the other side. Like, you still got to water it and mow it the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's you. It's like, I hear a lot of entrepreneurs, they're wanting to bounce around to find the easier path, or this is too hard, or the famous quote, it's not working. It's like, I don't think you're working it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you think you're just going to start something new and have instant success, or that you're even going to get what you desire as your result within the time frame that you think it is, like it always takes more effort and takes longer than you initially anticipated. Always.
Yeah, I mean, just staying strong, I guess, in the face of adversity is easier said than done, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no. Like, one of the qualities that I have, and it's just from childhood trauma, right?
Yeah.
Is no quit. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't stop until you win. And so for me, it's like, I see a lot of people quit. Like, it's just a go-to. I'm not getting the results I want. I'm putting in a lot of effort. I've made a lot of sacrifice, and I still have nothing to show for it. It's like, well, I'm confused. Wait, where in your rule book does it say you should have been wildly successful by now and you haven't met it yet? So it's not working. Do you know what I mean? Like, where's the stick-to-itiveness? Where's the persistence, the perseverance to continue the course until you win?
Yeah, it's I can tell you, right, for me, one thing I did when I first got into business altogether, I unintentionally burned the boats. So I had really, like, quitting was not an option, right? I put myself in such a tight spot, such a hard place to be in, that I couldn't turn back. This thing has to work.
Beautiful.
This thing has to work, or I'm gonna die or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was like that 100%. Critical. Yep. And granted, the situations were different. If you were to ask me now, if I were to do it in a different way, I would say theoretically yes. But for my character, I think that was the way to go. You know what?
You couldn't have done it differently then.
For the way that I operate. I mean, that was the way to go. You know what I mean? At 100%. That point in time, it would have been hard for me to take a risk and take a leap of faith in me, right? Just out of sheer will. Why? Because I was comfortable in a setting where I had a career going on. I had, the bases were getting covered, and all that stuff was in place. And so taking that bigger step was, I don't know, honestly, I don't know that I would have had the willingness to let go of that nice, type of life that I was living, right? To bet on myself and go strive for something bigger. So what happened is I burned the boats unintentionally again, and I've talked about that in past podcasts. I don't, beat a dead horse, but it's. I think that just kind of set me on a path of dealing with adversity right out of the gate, right?
100%.
The point I'm trying to make with that is that many times it's like, man, I'm gonna throw in the towel. I'm gonna change course. This thing's not working. This thing's stupid. This is like, what am I doing? What am I thinking? Everybody's saying that this is not going to pan out. Why don't I listen to people? Why don't I, go back to my 9 to 5 and that whole betting on myself thing, right? That whole sense of doubt was, just growing stronger until, some results here and there started to validate me in the way that I was operating, right?
Yeah, I love that. And I think going all in and burning the boats is the greatest gift an entrepreneur can give themselves. Because if you think about it, that means then there is only one option. That's it. Yeah. I've killed off all other potentials. And the only option is to move forward and win. Right. And if I don't quit, eventually I have to arrive. It may take a lot longer than I anticipated. Likely it will. But I'm going to arrive because I'm not willing to quit. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to stop. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't want to quit at times, right? But the fact that I'm not willing to give up and there are no other plan Bs, backdoor chicken exit, that means then I'm going to arrive eventually. Yeah. And, talking about our vertical here, real estate industry, like there's a massive change coming in just a few days nationwide. Do you know what I mean? And it's that buyer broker agreement. All buyers for to own a property have to have a signed agreement with an agent. Like, that's not Arizona specific. Okay, so this is a huge deal in the industry, and most realtors are uneducated and unequipped and insufficient in this moment in time. And it's happening literally in like 2 weeks. Now, I'm super excited. And I have been since the first tailwind of, this may be a change coming, because the thing about it is, like, I've been successful because I haven't quit. Yeah. And we're educated, we're positioned, we're prepared. And not only that, but I had another idea for a whole new kind of like a revolution to real estate brokerages that doesn't exist right now. And with this change coming up, lo and behold, it's perfect timing and even more of value to brokerages and realtors now than ever before because of this change. But the idea came before the change. It's like, that was, people could say, oh, he's lucky when it's successful, because it's obviously going to be. And I could say, no, I'm prepared. You know what I mean? Because sticking with it long enough, eventually there comes like this natural life cycle of a business. Yeah. And when you kind of hit that pinnacle, like kind of adulthood, you're past startup, you're past juvenile, you've worked out the bugs, things are humming fine, profitable, all those wonderful things. There's a problem with that pinnacle of the life cycle. It gets boring. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, how do I evolve? How do I pivot?
I think it gets routinary. Doing the same stuff over and over again, I feel like it's a very small percentage of people that enjoy that, that space where it's all. And if you're an entrepreneur, naturally you're going to be wired for the pursuit of the next thing.
Stimulation.
It's just that stimulation, the achievement. And I have met an entrepreneur who's okay doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, like,
and that's exactly
I've arrived.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens, right? I mean, after a while, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. That's why we automate, we delegate, we hire people, and we try to grow into other areas, grow ourselves as well.
Yeah, diversify.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it can be a threatening thing if you're not aware of what what's going on. We may I know that I've confused that in the past with a lack of drive, a lack of intensity, a lack of desire to accomplish. It's like, no, I'm just fucking bored from doing the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is, like, if you're not growing, if you're not persevering and exploring and having fun and to evolve, like, and you stay the same, man, that is a recipe for disaster, because what you're not taking into consideration is external factors. Yeah. Laws, markets, all those kinds of things can change in a moment's notice without your permission or consent. And now what are you going to do, right? So the cool thing is that like whenever a massive disruption occurs, man, that is so exciting to me because there's so much opportunity available. Because some people are going to lose their minds. There's blood in the streets, as they say. And what's going to happen to that wealth, that market share? It's just going to transfer to somebody else that's prepared, saw it coming, positioned themselves to take advantage of it. And not in a predatory manner, in a responsible entrepreneurship mindset. You know what I mean? Like you've got to plan and prepare for those X factors to the best of your ability. And at the first kind of sign of something that's going to shift, you better start doing your homework. You better start researching. You better start talking to your network and come up with some plans and contingencies. And to me, that's the stimulation, because we don't have to change anything now, but there's something stimulating to focus on. And so when people are losing their minds because they didn't prepare, man, I'm just going to take advantage of it because I'm persevering and persisting through it all.
Well, yeah, and I think I mean, one of the things you mentioned is people are losing their minds, right? I feel like that can be a lack of vision, lack of direction, and lack of resiliency.
Totally.
In oneself, like when you're too dependent on the stuff around you, on the whatever, the status quo, whatever happens outside of you. More importantly, I feel like when you have the mindset that you don't that you don't have the ability to impact your own environment, your own faith, I feel like we're giving a lot of our personal power away. And yesterday I had a very interesting conversation with Tony Mont, dude's a beast, and we were talking about the whatever happens in our life is our fault, right? And I know you and I have talked about that multiple times in the Mindset Monday podcast. Whatever happens, and there's a stigma. There's the context of fault is usually attached to something negative, right? But whatever happens, if it's a good thing, it's also our fault. Like we somehow, some way took part in making that situation manifest in our lives, right? So I feel like when you understand that, and you understand what path you're on, you have two things that are critical, right, to the resilience. I feel like that we need to stay on course. Like you have the ability to understand, like, shit, man, there's something I can do about it all the time.
Right?
I'm
responsible. Right. The ability to respond.
And this is a direction that I'm walking towards, and this is the outcome that I'm looking for. This is the life that I dream about, that I see. Is what I'm doing in alignment with that, or is it something broken, right? And I feel like it can get super hazy. And when things are not panning out, they're not going in the right,
without the proper mindset. Yes.
Right.
I love where you're going with this, by the way. It's super fascinating and right up my alley as well. And so, it's your fault, right? If you take ownership of the outcome of the result that you currently have, that is where your power lies. Because what you get to see is that alteration in my circumstances, condition, or environment, the result that I don't like. If I'm willing to own it, now I get to see I created it. Therefore, that result is feedback to me.
Right.
And that's where I get to learn. That's where I get to resource myself. I get experience. And I wouldn't have that if I was willing or even executed on quitting.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have had that lesson. And if I'm not lessoned and resourced through experience, man, what kind of value are you really? You're just talking theory.
Yeah, exactly. So again, I mean, for me, it's one of the things, right? I think about that, man. Like, hard times. I'm going through hard times, and I'll set my mind on that thing. Like, okay, shit, this is it's just a hard thing. It's a hard situation. It's a hard time. Like things are not panning out exactly how I originally thought. Something changed. Something shifted. It happens all the time. It happens all the time, right? But understanding that there's always something that we can do about it is one of the first things that gets me grounded. The second thing I think about is the vision, right? It's like, okay, what is the overall? What is the big picture here? What is I have to step back sometimes and then look at the big picture. Otherwise, I'll forget because I'm so in the micro.
Recalibrate.
In the micro of things as opposed to the macro, and I feel like it's easier to get lost and lose faith, more importantly, than while you're traveling through a spot like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're just with my team. I mean, I have daily huddles and on Pulse Capital, one of the companies, and we're going through operations and deals and all that. And sometimes, I mean, we see stagnation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, we're seeing stagnation on some of the deals, and I mean, it's challenging. It's like, man, okay, cool. What do we do about it, right?
Is it, if I may, just to make sure I understand, is it challenging because they're taking longer to sell, and so they're sitting on the books, and you're like, oh man, like we're not earning money because they're not moving, and I'm used to it going faster?
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of a biased lens and seeing it through the past.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, yeah, when you go back, and we always have, I mean, there's always seasons throughout the year, right?
Yeah.
Like you have, okay, summer hits and business gets a little tighter, even the traditional side. So you understand your cycles. You understand, okay, you have to prep. Like if your most of your business comes in, like we have a historical, trajectory of doing really good in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowing down a little bit during the summer, summer months and all that stuff, right? But now I think, it's hell. People don't want to walk around in the fire, and if you're listening to the podcast from somewhere else, we're in Phoenix. So Phoenix, I mean, I think we already hit 120 this season. Yeah, exactly. So NASA, this is a real thing. They did they were doing like aerial temperature checks, I guess, for cities and major metro areas and whatever. They tagged 160 degrees on some sidewalks in downtown Phoenix.
I believe it.
Yeah. My son was telling me the other day. Yeah, I went to roll, so jiu-jitsu. He went to his gym, and he was going into the gym. He got off, had his Crocs on, and he's walking on the pavement, and the pavement is melting.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's how hot it is.
Stupid.
So people don't want to do business during that type of weather. So we get it, right? But I feel like now the temperature is a little different because of the political climate. I mean, Trump just got shot over exactly over and I chuckle at that because it's crazy, like the type of stuff that's going on. Not that it's a good thing that Trump got shot, but so there's political climate going on, there's actual climate going on, there's a lot of things, right, that we have to take into consideration okay, this may impact the way I do business. Right, we have to think outside the box a little bit. It may impact, but it doesn't mean that we don't have the ability to stay the course and look at the big picture and come back and recalibrate, right, like you said.
Listen, man, it's so effing easy to quit. That's why so many people do it. Right? Yep. Like we naturally default to negative. Yeah. And so something's not going your way and you want to take your toys and go home. It's like, whoa. Like who the hell said it was going to all unfold the way you thought it was?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like who guaranteed you that? Like anybody can quit. Not everybody can persevere. And that's what separates the champions from the spectators.
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to quit? Like what the result that you wanted to create, the goal you wanted to achieve, it didn't go anywhere. Like it's just going to take a little more, and maybe it's going to take a better version of you in order to manifest that. So why don't you go be better? You get to do that, by the way. You don't have to, but you're developing you along the way. Like the attainment, the achievement is just a mere formality. But what you develop within you get to take everywhere and all things for the rest of your life. Like that's the goal.
Right. So, and I completely agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, I think as we're going through these processes of growing pains and situations like that, it's just, it's uncomfortable. It's a little, sometimes it may be something that you're not used to and whatnot. Yeah. However, we come in, we pivot and we improve. We just, come out on top. So, and I keep thinking back up when I started business, like that's really what triggers kind of like the feeling behind it. I have PTSD from all that shit.
Yeah. Right. Why are we still here?
It's like, yeah. So going back, I mean, right now thinking about that, like the stuff that we're going through right now, it's not, it's a bit of a slowdown, but it's not critical, right? Yeah. But it gets me thinking, because stuff like this, I mean, bro, it would have rocked my boat for months, in previous years. I know that things that were much lighter would just, would just throw me out of whack when I first was getting started in business, right? Because I didn't have that faith. Now it's kind of hard to shake me from the path, because I have this blind faith in the vision that I have, right?
Intention.
And exactly, and like, and it's really hard to convince me otherwise. That it's so now I'm on the opposite side of the pendulum, where it's hard to convince me that my it's not gonna work.
We went from easily losing your marbles to immovable.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a beautiful space to be at. You do get challenged, you get it, but it's a lot easier to recover. Is what I'm trying to say, right? And if you're going through the journey, sorry to interject there, but if you're going through the journey, right? If you're listening to a podcast and you're going through the journey, you're going through growing pains, or you're thinking about jumping ship and moving on to something because you feel like you've lost traction, or you got hit by some degree of adversity and challenges. The world is crazy. The world is nuts right now. It's just nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense, right? The only thing,
changing.
Yeah, it's always changing. The only thing that we can make sense of is the world that we choose to create within us, right?
The resolve.
Between the 2 years we have 6 inches of real estate, that's the most prized possession you're ever going to have, right? Keeping your mindset in a healthy, right, as you're going through this process is important. Understanding that you have the ability to act on whatever situations, circumstances get thrown at you is another thing that's key, right? And then having that clarity, that level of clarity of the direction, is what's going to give you the ability to not waver, right, when things get challenging.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying that in my confidence and inner peace and quietness and security and sureness in myself, that there's not times where I'm like, F it, throw my business partner, whatever business it is, throw him the keys and, burn him to the ground. I don't care. I'm going to go throw a tantrum, little pity party for a little bit. But, 5 minutes later, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, however, in the beginning, though, that may have lasted for a week or more.
Yeah.
So the goal is not, as an entrepreneur, is not to never go there mentally, emotionally. That's not the goal, because it's going to happen regardless. Yeah. The goal is to make progress on how much time can go by between those episodes and how long do those episodes last. So if I can shorten the amount of, lengthen the amount of time in between those episodes, and when I do have one, it's a short amount of time and I'm back on track.
Yeah.
Man, that's progress. And that's the name of the game. So there is no perfection. There is no arriving except for when you die. So it's game on. Take a swig of Gatorade, pick up your skirt, and let's go. What are you doing? Yeah. And if you're not willing to do that, you don't belong in business.
You keep wearing skirts in these scenarios. I mean,
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You and your skirt. You should see it, guys. It's really cool looking. It's pink.
The Sunday really, one is pretty. Yeah. So yeah, man. But it's. I mean, just have the awareness, right? That sometimes staying the course can't be the easiest thing. But if the ultimate vision, if the course that you have, mapped in front of you, and you want to get to, you have this ideal version of the place that you feel like you're gonna be thriving in. It's ahead of you, right? And you're just quitting because of adversity or challenges. I mean, ask yourself the question: how bad do you want it, right? Like, is it worth the juice, worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
Well, so with that being, and I'm not referring about not pivoting, right? Like, pivoting strategies is a completely different thing. It's bolting on new things, new actions, new building new habits if you have to, right? But you're not dropping the ultimate thing that you're looking for, or accomplishment that you're looking for. I feel as entrepreneurs, that's that's a trophy that we get to take home, right? A lot of times it's not something that's material. It's something that you're able to make an impact. You're able to whatever that thing is that you're going after. It's just understand that when you're jumping ship from that, you're not just bailing on that thing. You're bailing on yourself.
Yeah. So I'd like to just my last words on this is three keys to success as an entrepreneur. Oh, I can't talk today. So number 1 would be commitment. Number 2 would be tribe. And number 3 is contribution. Yeah. So what I mean by that is this. Before you get started, you might want to just decide that I'm not going to quit until I win. I'm committed, which means I'm willing to do whatever it takes, and there is no quit. Like, there's no plan B. I'm all in. Now, it's easy to commit to something when you have a sense of purpose. So I think the highest calling that we have as humans is to be of contribution to the collective of humanity. If you're serving humanity to leave this place better than you found it, so that when you're gone, it's improved. Like, man, that's worthy. That's a worthy ideal. And you're trading your life for whatever your goals are because you're investing your time and attention for the attainment. And so if your goal is to serve humanity, leave it better than you found it, and you're committed to that, well, good, because now it's worthy of you because you're trading your life for it. And like, you're not going to arrive at something huge and grand and beautiful all on your own. Like, you're going to need counsel. You're going to need someone to hold the bucket while you vomit your victim pity party. You're going to need objective observation of yourself and how you're being and your strategy so that you can pivot. Like, you need to surround yourself with people that really do care about you and your success, not your protection, but what's best for you and your purpose. Man, the tribe has been everything to me because there's been dark moments, hasn't there?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, who's got your back? So you got to commit, you got to have a contribution, a sense of purpose, and you got to have a tribe.
I love it, man. I love it. So, fam, with that being said, let us know your thoughts, right? It's a two-way conversation. If somebody Justin, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, anywhere on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Mindset Coach JT, or my cell phone, 602-348-8534.
Boom. Family, with that being said, we'll catch you guys on the next episode of the Mindset Monday podcast, which we secretly record on Tuesdays. Plot twist. Stay focused. You got this.